The year 2025 finds U.S.-Canada relations strained. A bitter trade dispute now defines this bond. Aggressive U.S. protectionist policies are the cause. The economic landscape is fraught with uncertainty. The once celebrated partnership is visibly cracking. A new, harsher reality settles over North America. Canada has been forced into a defensive posture. Protecting Canadian industries is now paramount. Officials express grave concerns over U.S. tactics. Canada signals it will not yield to pressure. The critical issue of Alaskan access has emerged. Canada's geography gives it undeniable leverage. The reliance of the U.S. on these routes is clear. This flashpoint reveals the shifting power dynamics. These tensions transcend mere economic squabbles. The era of assumed cooperation is truly over. British Columbia takes a bold step as Premier David Eby proposes tolls on U.S. trucks to Alaska. This challenges U.S. trade actions, asserting provincial power. BC won't watch its economy suffer. Legislation is being drafted in Victoria, with toll amounts undecided. This counters U.S. policies, targeting the Alaska Highway, crucial for Alaska's supply chains. The impact could be substantial, as Eby frames it as economic defense. It's a reply to U.S. aggression, marking a new Canadian assertiveness. Canada insists these tolls are purely defensive, as Premier Eby calls U.S. tariff threats unprecedented. He states they pose a danger to Canadian livelihoods. The proposed tolls are not an act of provocation, they are a measured response to economic coercion. Canada aims to protect its workers and industries, leveling a tilted playing field. The nation is safeguarding its economic future, with these potential tolls serving as a strategic deterrent. They are a tool kept ready in the toolkit, as Canada hopes to discourage further U.S. escalation. If new American tariffs are imposed, BC will act. This policy is one of conditional retaliation, seeking to restore balance in trade relations. The goal is to ensure mutual respect, as Canada will not be a casualty of U.S. policy. At its heart, this is a fight for sovereignty, with Canada resisting attempts to undermine its economy. The nation asserts its right to fair trade practices, rejecting being dictated to by a larger neighbor. This principled stand has found support domestically, as many Canadians feel their country is being targeted. They back measures to protect national interests, with a sense of economic patriotism growing. This Canadian action reflects a wider global shift, as nations worldwide are re-evaluating trade relationships. The proposed tolls will hit Alaska-bound commerce hard. Trucking companies face significantly higher operational costs. These new expenses will likely inflate prices. Alaskan consumers may bear the ultimate burden. The cost of goods in the state could rise. Profit margins for transport services will shrink. This creates a challenging business environment. The economic stability of Alaska is threatened. Logistical challenges will mount for the shipping industry. Firms must urgently reassess their transport strategies. Supply chains will need to be reconfigured. Alternative routes to Alaska are scarce and costly. Sea or air freight options are more expensive. The smooth flow of goods will inevitably be disrupted. Delays and shortages could become commonplace. Planning for businesses becomes a daunting task. The impact extends far beyond trucking operations. Many Alaskan businesses rely on these land routes. They need consistent supplies of goods and materials. A striking trend has emerged in recent times. Canadians are showing far less interest in U.S. travel. Aviation data reveals a dramatic plunge in bookings. This decline has been ongoing and significant. It predates the current Alaska toll dispute. The reasons are complex, including economic anxieties. Strained diplomatic ties also play a major role. A chill has fallen over personal travel decisions. The U.S. tourism industry is feeling this shift. Popular American destinations are seeing fewer Canadians. This translates directly into lost tourism revenue. Hotels, restaurants, and attractions are affected. The economic consequences are spreading widely. This downturn impacts communities reliant on visitors. The ripple effects extend beyond major cities. It is a tangible outcome of souring relations. Airlines are scrambling to adjust their operations. They must respond to this collapse in demand. Major Canadian carriers are cutting U.S. flights. Air Canada has significantly reduced its capacity. Thousands of seats on U.S. routes are disappearing. This reflects the new, harsh market reality. The industry is bracing for continued low demand. Transborder air travel patterns are fundamentally changing. The entire North American travel ecosystem is in flux. The proposed Alaskan tolls are not an isolated tactic. They form one part of a broader Canadian strategy. Canada is determined to build greater economic resilience. This involves a multi-pronged defensive approach. The overarching goal is to protect national interests. It is about weathering the current economic storm. Canada is preparing for a more challenging global stage. The nation seeks to control its own destiny. A key element is strengthening Canada's internal market. Efforts are underway to remove interprovincial trade barriers. Streamlining commerce within Canada boosts the economy. A more robust domestic market is less vulnerable. It reduces reliance on volatile international trade. This is a long-term vision for Canadian prosperity. Building internal strength is a core priority. This fosters greater self-sufficiency. Diversifying international trade partnerships is also crucial. Canada is actively looking beyond the U.S. market. New trade agreements with other nations are pursued. This strategy aims to reduce economic dependence. The future of U.S.-Canada relations looks increasingly troubled. Ongoing trade disputes have cast a dark cloud. The historic ease of cross-border movement is threatened. A period of significant adjustment lies ahead. Both nations must navigate this new, complex terrain. The Trump shock over Canada's stance is telling. It highlights a fundamental misunderstanding of Canadian resolve. The old assumptions no longer hold true. Businesses and individuals face growing uncertainty. Those reliant on cross-border access must adapt. Contingency planning is now more critical than ever. The potential for new costs, like tolls, is real. Reduced travel options add further complications. The deep interconnectedness of the two economies is clear. However, this interdependence now reveals vulnerabilities. The costs of this escalating friction are mounting. Meaningful dialogue and diplomacy are urgently needed. Finding common ground is essential for regional stability. The long shared history of partnership is valuable. It should not be carelessly discarded in disputes.